semifinal match against Korda, and if he gets out in front, that could be a big factor. But before that happens, Washington's really going to need to attack, and that includes a lot of first serves.
All right, we'll be watching the game plan closely as we look at our chair umpire from Seattle, Washington, the very experienced Richard Kaufman. Everything is in readiness here, and as I said, a real air of excitement in the crowd tonight. This could be some kind of a match. Agassi to serve, first game, first set. And interestingly enough, Agassi did not win the coin toss. Malavia won it and elected to receive. Tim, what do you think about that play?
Well, I think it's a smart play. It's a little bit cool out here, and now wants to get used to the Agassi first serve, get into it, get acclimated. I think it's a smart play.
Agassi overhitting slightly.
And there you see the advantage of receiving first. Agassi, kind of a slow starter, works his way in. He doesn't have a long warm-up, and so it takes a while for Andre to get going sometimes.
Difficult conditions now because, as you can see, there are shadows on this court. The light will be getting dimmer, the sun going down. Agassi has clean shaved off that goatee. The hair still coming out from the cap. He has looked loose all week long out here, hitting the ball extremely well. This is a DecoTurf 2 surface you're looking at, the exact same surface that all the summer tournaments use, including the U.S. Open in New York. Yells at himself, come on, he's trying to get into this first game, but in trouble already, down 15-40, double break point. Goes for a big serve wide. And a double fault, and so Agassi, a shaky start. Now Washington leading with the service break. 1-love in the first set. Stay with us. We're at the Canadian Open. Welcome back. This is the first point of the second game. Andre unloading on that forehand.
Well, that's the big inside-out forehand we'll be looking for all night long. He'll be camping. You can see that big swooping forehand. He sets up a number of them. It's like a shooting gallery for Agassi.
Andre so quickly back into this game, as you mentioned, Tim, loves to run around and just belt that forehand. Love 30.
Well, we'll see Agassi camping just to the left of the center service when he's in the backcourt. It gives him an opportunity to get that forehand. He looks very intense tonight, not as loose as he has been earlier on in the week.
Cord. Ooh, Agassi goes for it. Malavia's early round results, Tim.
And I think the important thing there is the tiebreakers. Washington really playing well when it counts most. That's a sign of confidence. It's down a tough match against the tough Canadian there, Grant Connell.
Triple break point now for Agassi to get right back in this first set. He lost his serve. Big shot from Mal Washington. Malavia concentrating as well.
Well, Washington set that point up with the big kicking serve that pulled Andre out of court. Finished it off with the forehand.
Oh, Mal thought the ball was long. No call on that baseline.
What are you looking at? Washington says. That makes 3 winners on the line for Agassi in that game.
Huge point, Tim. Agassi went for the forehand. And so Agassi breaks right back. 1-all, first set. Andre talking to himself. He is really pumped up, Tim. You rarely hear him talk this early. And we'll see how much that call is going to affect Malavia's Washington's concentration. He's already looking over at that baselinesman. 15 love. And Agassi with his second double fault, already double faulted on game point to lose his serve. I'll look at Andre Agassi's early round results, Tim.
Really having no problems throughout the tournament. Beat a tough Amos Monsdorf easily yesterday. 4-2.
Hit by Malavia. And that kid Nestor, who Agassi beat in the second round, the youngster from Canada who beat Stefan Edberg in Davis Cup play earlier, and so he must have something going to beat Edberg in Davis Cup.
Well, between Nestor and Rudetsky, there's some good young Canadians coming up. We'll look for them next year.
Oh, it's wide. And so Andre Agassi to 40-15 here. Bit of wind blowing now. You can see Andre's hair, and this stadium court dug out very deep into the ground, and so wind should not be a big factor, but it swirls around down there.
Hold.
And there it is, Andre Agassi. Hold serve. Agassi, first set, he leads 2-1. Welcome back to the Canadian Open, the National Tennis Center, where Malavia, Washington is serving against Andre Agassi. Down 1-2, first set.
We talked about the big first serve is important in the game plan. He sets this ball up with that big first serve and punishes this overhead. But he has to get a high percentage of that first ball in play.
Now going up the line, catches the tape. That net 6 inches higher down that sideline, and how often players seem to kind of forget that, Tim, but I don't think they're aware of it. It's just that it's a tougher shot. 15 all. Agassi again talking to himself.
He is very fired up tonight. Last night, Barry, I went in the locker room and I found him 40 minutes before the match face down asleep in the locker room floor. So a different Andre Agassi this evening. He is really pumped.
players now just kind of staying in that backcourt, trying to feel each other out, see who's going to do what throughout the evening. 30 all.
We're going to see a lot of tactics in play tonight, Barry. These guys will move each other around the court. A lot of position tennis, particularly from Agassi, looking for that forehand, but Washington can do that himself, and he's going to get Andre on the run if he can. I think I heard Agassi said he can't see.
Well, it's very tough right now. The shadows are coming across the center court. There's one area that's still very much in sunlight. The rest is in shadows, and this is a tough time to play. The sun has not gone down. The lights are on. There you see that piece of court that's got the sun coming through it, and so the ball's going to come in and out of darkness virtually. No, it's over, and so Malavia Washington holds serve. 2 games all. First set. We're going to have a look at the draw now on the upper half. Yvonne Lendl with that big win this afternoon, an impressive win, 1-2 over Wally Masur, who had upset Peter Korda earlier. And of course, down in the bottom half, Malavia taking on Andre. They both won over Krickstein and Mansdorf. We're going to have the finals for you tomorrow right here on Prime Network. Check your local listings. We'll have it.
Now they're sparring in the backcourt here, and Washington waits for the time to sneak in. You can see him coming in, sneaking in. Agassi doesn't realize it. This ball's going to go wide, but Washington plays it anyway.
That's so true, Tim. That ball up the line was going to go about 6 inches wide. Mal just went over and hit the volley into the open court, taking no chances. That is a tremendous two-hander by Andre Agassi.
Agassi makes this shot look so easy, but he actually changes the direction of the ball. And what I mean by that is Washington goes cross-court, and then Agassi goes down the line instead of going cross-court. A much more difficult shot, Barry.
You saw Andre there throwing a couple balls up. He's looking up into the sky. He's checking the lights, which are now on, and he's got to worry about the sun, which is starting to set. No. Agassi hitting wide, and so Malavia now with a chance. 15-30. There is exactly what Agassi is contending with. You see the flags blowing. Still a bit of blue sky up there, and still some sun filtering into the stadium. No, Agassi runs around the forehand, misses it, and so now double break point for Washington. And Agassi fires the racket. Very unhappy with that shot. We're at the Canadian Open, the National Tennis Center. It is dusk, the sun is setting, and look at those fans. Come back with us.
The best in the U.S. travel north. McEnroe, Gilbert, Wheaton, Lendl, and Agassi aim to reclaim the title in the 92 Players Limited International Canadian Open. The final, live Saturday at 2 on HSE.
Welcome back to a packed house here at the Canadian Open. Semifinal action, and it is tense. Mal Washington has broken back. He leads 3-2 with a break, but he had the break at 1-love and lost his serve. At the changeover, this was Andre Agassi just moments ago trying to protect himself from that very difficult sun. Tim, and he's definitely having problems with the conditions out here.
Well, I think it's the sun, and also he wants to just get away from that last game he played. A lot of unforced errors.
Net and a fault. The net court judge there to the far left of your picture, seated underneath the umpire tonight. Agassi just hitting the tape. Lets that racket go one more time. He's tight.
Well, Washington is one of the few players on the tour who's so quick he can track down a lot of those Agassi bullets. Makes Andre hit one or two more shots than he's used to, and perhaps that's wearing on Andre's brain right now.
Well, taking a little extra time. Thought he had a good first serve there. It was called a fault. And a loose forehand by Washington up the line.
Barry, Washington really has come out tonight. I think he realizes what's in front of him. He, like we said, has positioned himself. He's at 21 in the world, but he needs to make a move into the top ranks, beat some of the game's elite, and he seems to be up to the task this evening so far.
Agassi again missing with the two-hander. 40-15. Oh, that's a good shot.
That's been Agassi's forehand has been the savior this evening. Missing on the backhand, but he's strong with the forehand, powdering that ball. He's going to have to cut down those unforced errors off the backhand side.
Ooh, and Washington overhitting with the forehand. It kind of jumped at him a little there, and so from 40-15 up, Washington now a deuce. That's where we saw him get in some trouble last week in Washington, Tim, when he had the opportunity. Seemed to overhit a little bit. Washington serves his first ace of the evening, and what a time for it. Gives him the advantage. Yes. And now Washington knocks off a clean winner from well behind the baseline. He leads at 4-2. Back in 1987, here at the Canadian Open, you can have a look at the prize money. What a growth pattern, Tim. 375 up to over 1.2 million.
Now, as Agassi dumps that backhand, that's a real testament to the IBM ATP Tour. And next year, Barry, that's going to 1.4 million. So the growth continues.
Yes, Washington red hot now. Really striking that forehand perfectly.
And Agassi is really rushing now. He goes right back and serves. As we take a look at this Washington forehand, the point before.
Now finally missing one on the live play there off the two-hander. So Agassi gets 1 point back. Still down 15-30 and down 2-4 first set.
You can see Washington there trying to interrupt Agassi's flow. Andreas is playing so quickly between points.
Andre keeping that two-hander well below the net on the approach shot there. And so now 30 all. That was a big point, Tim.
Well, Agassi's in danger of going down 2 breaks, virtually losing this first set.
Oh, and another low toss, and Agassi, his 3rd double fault of the set and of the match. And so now another big chance for Washington. Break point. This is where it really, I think, tells whether a champion is there. If he can fight through some bad play, and obviously Agassi not playing great at the moment. Agassi sneaks in, hits the one-handed forehand cross court.
What a contrast from this afternoon. We saw Lendl taking 35, 40 seconds between points. Agassi is just getting up there and firing.
How late are you going to call those, huh?
Andre's saying, how late are you going to call him? He thought he had a good serve there.
Try to call him a little earlier.
Andre's saying he wants the call earlier. He thought there was too long a delay. And I think he's just unhappy about the call period.
He thought he had a good serve down the center, but a slow call. Oh, he pulls it wide. Looks to me like he's trying to finish these points off very quickly, Tim.
Unwilling to set up the points like he has to. Washington is a very good player. Andre needs to set up that big forehand, not go for it off the first shot.
And he goes big on the second serve down the center and misses. And so Agassi has lost serve again. Mal will be serving for the first set when we return. Mal Washington serving for the first set here against Andre Agassi, and it is now 15 love. Washington 3 points away. These are new balls. They're changing this week at 7 and 9. Goes wide, and certainly an advantage, Tim, to be serving with new balls to try and close out the first set.
Well, they are a lot faster, particularly for a guy with a big serve like Washington. They move through the air more quickly.
Ball has not fluffed up on this DecoTurf surface yet, and so it's going to be a much more compact object there, and it's going to go through the air a lot quicker. Tremendous point. Best point of the match right there. Both players really nailing those shots, using the whole court. Chance now for Agassi to get 1 break back. He is down 2 breaks, however. 15-30. It's wide. Unbelievable as Agassi goes for another winner. I wonder if he's worried about his doubles later tonight. Tim with his newfound partner in America, John McEnroe. They'll be going against Ricky Leach and Kelly Jones. I doubt if he's thinking too much about that doubles match. Although, if you're listening, John, I'm sure he's concerned about it. Unforced errors.
Well, we put that in the Agassi game plan, and he's hit too many so far tonight. Washington,
his second ace of the evening, and so Mal Washington now at set point. Big chance here to knock off this first set. This is best of 3. Oh! biggest serves Washington served all evening, and Agassi just takes the forehand and hits a clean winner.
Well, he's got the fastest hands in the game, Agassi does. Gets back, just uses all the power on that Washington serve. We saw him do that at Wimbledon.
And again,
Washington just comes back with another boomer.
on the center. This is great stuff. Big rallies, and then all of a sudden this tremendous power. Set point again for Washington. And he overhits the forehand, and there it is. Mal Washington with the first set here in Toronto at the Canadian Open. Big chance for Washington. We will have the finals tomorrow right here on Prime Network. Yvonne Lendl, the #3 seed, waiting for the winner of this match, either Agassi or Washington. If it's going to be Agassi, he's going to have to win 2 sets in a row. First game, second set. Andre opens up strong here in the first game of the second set. Amazing again, the error off the forehand.
And Agassi is really going for too much early on, but you got to hand it to Washington, Barry. He has just played solid tennis.
Yes, indeed. Andre swats the ball, still unhappy. He is edgy, asking the crowd to be quiet.
See Nick mumbling to himself, very concerned. Andre has been rushing, and of course Nick, Andre's longtime coach, they split ways earlier on this year, and then Andre went back with Nick after a hiatus of a few months.
He has watched a lot of Andre Agassi tennis through the years.
He can't be very happy with this tonight.
This is shaky. 5 double faults now for Agassi. And he goes down double break point here in the first game of the second set. He has already lost the first 6-2.
Washington would love to get this early break in the second set.
You can see now the sun is no longer a factor in terms of shadows on this center court. It has gone behind the stadium. And there it is. Agassi again going for the forehand, hits the tape, and so Mal Washington, a service break and a set. We're at the Canadian Open in Toronto. Stay with us on Prime Network. Welcome back to the Canadian Open. Some tense moments here early in the second set as Mal Washington is putting on a show for these Canadian fans up here. He has played some brilliant tennis against this gentleman, the current Wimbledon champion. Washington with the first set, 6-2, with a break here in the second. It's best of 3, and you kind of sense around the crowd there's an air of upset, but we've got a lot of tennis to play yet. I think, Tim, around the net, when we saw him miss that volley, is maybe one of his weaknesses. He doesn't have a lot of flexibility at the net.
Well, he's not quite as good in the full stretch, particularly on the backhand side there. That ball just below the net. Agassi does so well to neutralize Washington coming to the net with that little dink that goes cross court and drops low to the Washington backhand volley. And I think, Barry, also it's harder with a two-hander to volley well. particularly from below the net.
Just gets the tape again. Andre trying to keep that ball low. But a good solid approach by Mal Washington. The slice backhand stayed low.
He's having earring problems there, Andre.
That I can't help him with. 30-15. Oh, yes. Andre pulls over that two-hander. It's one of his best returns of the evening.
Washington has had great success with this kicking second serve, but Agassi, instead of going cross-court, he chooses to go down the line. That ball just skims, and that is an incredibly difficult shot to hit. Washington's ball is spinning away, and to bring it down the line is so difficult.
30 all. Just long. Ooh, and Mal, not a tough two-hander there, misses the backhand, and so now Agassi, just as in the first set, has a chance to get even at 1-all. This hit, you could hear it from up here. The ball just off the frame of Agassi's racket. I don't think I've seen so many mishits from Agassi as he has tonight in a long time, Tim. It's deuce. Right down the center one more time, and Washington, a huge service ace, his fourth of the evening.
It's that down the middle serve he's had a lot of success with for Washington. Brian Gottfried back at Ponte Vedra, Mal's coach, must be very happy with what he sees tonight so far.
And he lets that ball go. It goes long. And so Washington at 2-love in the second set. And now let's have a look at our GMC truck first set statistics.
Well, Washington really coming through with that first serve percentage. That was a big one. Agassi down below where he should be. But look at all those unforced errors in Agassi's side.
15 in the first set. Very unusual for Agassi. He is normally the model of consistency from that backcourt, especially on this kind of surface. Andre, for the first time tonight, changes the pace. Drop shot. Unbelievable. Agassi, the magician.
He is always colorful, using the moon ball technique, and then he decides to change it up with a forehand drop volley. Had Washington running all over the place. See him just gently massaging that ball, and then quickly changes to the drop shot.
Back live, we're in a rally, and Agassi now to 40-love.
Just being dominated, Agassi is when he's serving on the Washington return.
Well, there's a good example of leaving a little space on the forehand side. It's the one chance you take when you move around and hit that forehand, leave the whole court open, and Washington went for it. Serve is wide. Second serve. Agassi at 40-15. And Washington. Agassi waiting for the call over the baseline. No call. Didn't like the call, but it stood 40-30. And Agassi finally holds serve. And so Andre Agassi holds serve. Washington leading 2-1, second set. This is a second serve for Mal Washington. Welcome back to the Canadian Open. 2-1, Washington leading with a break. And he's getting some breaks. The ball just climbs over the net.
Never hurts to have a little luck. He meant to do that. Washington choosing to come over this approach shot. A little bit tougher shot, but he gets very lucky. He had the whole court open. That ball caught the top of the net and just dropped over.
Oh, that goes wide.
Look at all those errors from Agassi. 21 through a set in just a bit. Washington pretty even. But he's played well, Washington has, when he's needed to.
Now kind of jumping at the ball. And I think this is a very crucial game, Tim, because he's got the break now. He's got it going. He does not want to lose his serve back. But he's in trouble here. 15-30. Just wide. On the flip side, of course, can Agassi, when he's not playing well, which he certainly is not at the moment, can he hang in a match like this and somehow get through it? That is the mark of a champion. To win when you're not playing well. Solid shot from Agassi.
Agassi settling down here a little bit, Barry. Like you said, can he win when he's not playing well? Here's the shot that's going to help him win this match, that big forehand. But Andre has not played that well. You can see Washington scramble for this ball. He has not played that well outside of the big tournaments. He's only won two titles, of course, Wimbledon and then the Atlanta title.
And again, the miss hit, you could hear it as Agassi got set for that two-hander. He's kind of laughing at himself. Cannot believe he could miss that shot. No pressure on him at all. So one break point disappears. No, it's going to go long. You could see it from the minute it left Mal's racket, and so Washington loses his serve. This crowd now getting behind Agassi. They want to see him get into this match. 2-all. Second set. A big game. Mal could have gone up 3-1, maintained his service break. Instead, it's dead even now. Second set, anyway. Love. Washington bit of a slump suddenly, missing 2 fairly easy balls.
And if Agassi can get this game, he really would have switched the momentum, Barry.
Oh, Mao with a wide open court, had Agassi on the run and mishit it one more time. 3 bad errors to put him down 40 love.
Hard to figure, Barry, but I think Agassi's tactic of taking some pace off the ball maybe have thrown Washington for a loop.
Now we're seeing a comedy of errors in this game. Nobody seems to be able to put the ball away. We are at center court, National Tennis Center here in Toronto, Canada. Semifinal action. Andre Agassi going against Mal Washington, the winner into the finals tomorrow to play Ivan Lendl for the Canadian Open title. We will have it on Prime Network. Oh, and Washington comes in and hits the ball 20 feet over the baseline. Agassi holds serve. What a match. Agassi 3-2 second set. We're at the Canadian Open. Welcome back to semifinal action here at the Canadian Open, Toronto, Canada, York University, and the National Tennis Center, as a stunned crowd has watched Malavia Washington run through the first set 6-2. But now Andre Agassi somehow is trying to claw himself back into this match. As you mentioned, Tim, he kind of changed the pace there with a couple lob balls, and he has an instinct for doing that. Washington serving down 2-3, starting with a double fault, and Mal Washington now has gotten into a real bad patch of points here.
Well, he was playing beautiful tennis up to this point, and all of a sudden a whole group of errors. Starting back in the service game before this for Washington.
You think he looks over and sees Agassi and says, I'm playing the Wimbledon champion, one of the best players in the world. Does something happen to a guy like Mal Washington in this situation?
I don't think that's it, Barry. I think he's not as good a front runner as he is when he's playing behind or even. A lot of players like that, actually.
Washington. Yes, and the net court helps Agassi.
And the momentum in this match has changed in an instant. Agassi gets a little lucky. This is a good approach shot, catch the top of the net, and that's one of the few good backhands we've seen from Agassi this evening.
Chance now for Agassi to go up 4-2. Love 30. Washington starting to miss more first serves at this point in the set. Double break point for Andre Agassi now, 15-40.
First serve's good, attack's good, errors are questionable.
Right. Just inside the sideline. Agassi with a remarkable return of serve there off to one of Mal's best serves of the match. So Washington saves one.
Great full stretch return. Both players, you can see Agassi changing the pace there with that high backhand, but Mal somehow finds the sideline.
Another big serve and a huge point for Mal Washington. He desperately needed to get back to deuce, and he does.
And Washington has won 4 out of the 4 deuce games so far.
Washington looks, when he starts each point, Tim, like he is calming down, really taking it slow, and then on some crucial points, he'll speed up quickly.
Ooh, and he lets it go, and it's on the baseline.
Just pulled his racket away, and the ball jumps right onto the baseline. Would you have volleyed that, Tim?
No comment, Barry. That's a tough call.
Boy, that was a big point.
I think the rule of thumb is anything pretty close to the baseline you should play. He could have
Yeah.
put that volley away.
Yeah.
But it's awfully easy to talk him up here in the booth.
Another chance for Agassi to go up 4-2. Goodbye, and there it is. Andre does not put away the forehand volley, but he does the overhead, and so Agassi has broken serve. He leads 4-2. Let's have a look now at our game plan. How they doing, Tim?
Well, I think Andre up till now has not got any X's at all. His forehand's been off. Too many unforced errors. Washington has served well and attacked well, but I think he really let those nerves get to him, Barry, when he had a chance to grab this match by the neck.
We'll keep our report card handy because Agassi looks like he may be coming back. Yes, another big forehand.
Better put an X in that forehand box now.
Keep it handy, folks. We'll see what happens. Agassi's so unpredictable.
There it is, that big pounding forehand. All of a sudden finds the range on it.
Now really having trouble now with his forehand, and so Agassi to 30 love. Few whistles there. That ball looked like it might have skidded off the service line. Ooh, Washington with a real sitter of a backhand dumps it into the bottom of the net. And so Andre with a real break there. 40 love. And he rips it cross court, and Agassi, the quickest game of the set, holds it. 5-2, Agassi leading second set. Washington with the first. Welcome back. This is the first point of the 2-5 game. Now Washington down 2-5 to Andre Agassi as Agassi fires one 20 feet wide right off the frame of the racket. 15 love the score. Washington with the first set 6-2. Agassi right back with a 5-2 lead in the second. Just catches the baseline.
You can see the incredible turnaround there for Agassi. Very loose set, and then all of a sudden Washington comes on, playing great tennis, and then 12 unforced errors so far in the second set.
Oh, yes. One of the best backhands we've seen Mal hit all evening. Just leaned into that one-hander.
Well, this is a beautiful slice approach shot. Cross court, knifes it. Slices the roast beef, as Brad Gilbert would say.
Bradley perhaps watching tonight from his palatial home in San Rafael, California. Oh, yes. Now Washington nudging that backhand up the line. Well, he's got to hold serve here. Stay in this set.
And also, I think, Barry, to kind of change the momentum, even if he loses this second set, kind of reestablish himself back in this match, stop the bleeding.
the kind of shots we've seen Mal overhit. Looks like a fairly straightforward approach shot. Goes for too much, loses the point. We saw him do that against Peter Korda last week in Washington, Tim, on some very crucial set points. This match just a little over an hour old. You can see the time clock behind Mal Washington. Second serve. No, another miss hit off the two-hander, and so from 40-15 up, it's deuce. Drops back on Malavia's side, and so now Andre Agassi, down 40-15 in this game, has a chance to even this match at a set apiece. Very close down the center. Big second serve. Washington in with a huge second serve on set point down. It's deuce. Boy, talk about taking a chance, Tim.
Well, this is his best serve, the kicker out wide, but that catches the sideline. He's going for broke. See Andre trying to arm that ball down the line.
All six in the net.
Another enormous second serve. That for a clean ace. Number 5.
So Mal now trying to stay alive here in this second set. He already has the first. Out wide. No, and another serve out wide. And he serves his second double of the evening. Talk about inconsistent. Unbelievable. He takes the big chance on the set point. It works. Dumps the little drop volley.
Andre really doesn't come to net too often, but when he does, it's on a good approach shot. He had Washington on the run, goes back behind him with a little drop volley.
Second serve now. Just slicing under that ball, keeping it so low. This crowd just eating up this match.
Like a couple of artists out there creating shots. See him trading those slice backhands cross court. Beautiful stuff, and then a drop shot out of nowhere. Agassi almost trying to bend that backhand around the net post.
Washington again missing from the backcourt, and so once again Andre Agassi stands at set point. the 6th service ace for Mal Washington. What a game this is turning out to be. The 5th deuce. Oh, that's a great two-hander.
Agassi has really settled down here. He was talking to himself at the start of the match, and now he seems to really have found his own rhythm.
So once again, Washington fighting off the set point.
Up on the top, your voice is carrying on top, please. You can keep it down, thank you.
No, it goes wide. So for the 5th time, Agassi with a chance to even this match at a set apiece. No, that's going to go long, and there it is. Game and 2nd set to Andre Agassi. We will have the finals for you on Prime Network tomorrow. The Canadian Open Championship. Ivan Lendl, the number 3 seed, just out waiting now, probably watching a bit of this match tonight here in Toronto. The winner will take on Lendl, and whoever wins this set will be in the finals. Agassi holds up new balls. We are ready to start the 3rd and final set. Washington trying a new approach there, slices the approach, but Agassi with the beautiful cross-court two-handed angle.
And Barry, we saw Washington last week against Korda have a little bit of a foot problem in the 2nd set, and I sense he might be aching out there a little bit now.
Just by the way he's moving, Tim?
Yeah, I don't think he's as fluid as he was at the start of the match, and you can see him bouncing around. He had bunion problems, according to the trainer, Todd Schneider. And
With his right foot?
Absolutely. That may or may not be a problem right now, but we'll look for it as the match goes on.
Well, he definitely doesn't look like the player he was early in that 1st set, Tim. No question about it.
And it was funny, Washington said there was nothing wrong with his feet after the match. He didn't get any treatment, but the trainer told me he was having some problems with some bunions.
Well, it goes long, and so Andre Agassi has held serve here in the 1st game of the 3rd set. It's a set apiece. Agassi leading 1-love in the 3rd. This is a 2nd serve from Mal Washington, down love 1 in the 3rd to Andre Agassi. 2nd game, 3rd set. Ooh, Washington gets caught with the low backhand volley. And at the last changeover, I'll look at Mal Washington shaking his head, doing a little talking to himself. Tim, you honestly think he may be having some problems with that right foot?
Well, there were some problems last week, and I wish I was a ventriloquist. I could tell you what he's thinking right now. But
a lip reader.
He did have limited mobility at the end of that match in Washington. And I get the sense that he can't push off. He's not getting any weight on his strokes, making a few more unforced errors, Washington is.
All, second serve. Ooh, net cord. Agassi all over that one.
And also, Barry, I think Agassi has really made a smart move in taking pace off the ball, hitting those moon balls. See here, I'm adjusting to that net court that popped up beautifully for his forehand. But he's really taken the pace off. Washington perhaps likes a guy to hit the ball very hard.
Ooh, a wide open court. I think it's interesting to see what Washington can do when he's tight again, because he seems not to be able to play well, Tim, when he's in the lead. Just the opposite of Ivan Lendl, one of the best front runners in the business.
See Agassi changing the pace there, hitting those soft moon balls. Like that one.
Ooh, that's a good drop shot. He gets it.
The fans are eating this up. Watch Agassi. There's the moon balls I was talking about. Changing the pace. Agassi tries to open up the court, and a drop shot. Agassi was all over that, anticipated correctly, but he was so close to the ball he couldn't react in time. That's good movement from Agassi, but he can't handle that tough volley.
Point, and there it is. Mal Washington comes right back, holds serve, and we got a match on our hands here. 1-all in the third. Let's have a look now at our GMC truck match stats. This is the first set.
You can see that 63% first serve percentage there from Mal Washington. That was key. Let's take a look at the second set stats. Look at that, down to 45%. Agassi up to 60 and all those 67 and all those unforced errors in Washington's corner. That tells the story.
Agassi to 15 love now. Third game, third set. This match has been a topsy-turvy all afternoon, all evening. definitely get the feeling, though, Tim, that Agassi has played himself right back in now. He is not as edgy. Keeping balls in play. Agassi has won the last 16 points on his own serve. Very impressive. He's content just to get that ball in. He's spinning it in, which is what he likes to do. And it's long, and so Agassi, 17 straight points on his own serve. He leads 2-1, third set. We're at the Canadian Open in Toronto.
The IBM ATP Tour magazine takes you around the world with the closest look at the ATP Tour. Wednesdays on HSE, an affiliate of Prime Network.
Welcome back to the Canadian Open here at the National Tennis Center, York University in Toronto, Canada, where we really have a match going. Total opposite sets, 6-2 for Washington, and then Agassi coming back strong in the second. They're on serve now in the third, 1-2.
And again, Agassi changing the pace on that backhand. I think Washington having a difficult time with those balls up around his shoulder. But this is a crucial game for Washington. He can really get back into this match.
No, it's long. Washington taking another big chance on that second serve. Serves a double fault, his third of the match. And so now an opportunity for Agassi. Love 30. Fourth game. Left first serve. The net cord definitely helping Agassi on almost every net cord tonight. He has won the point.
This gives Agassi a chance to set up, come around, hit that big forehand. You can see him adjusting there as that ball hits the top of the net. Then launching himself off the ground with that forehand.
With the break, and so Andre Agassi now up 3-1 in the third set. Well, they use the permanent singles poles, Tim, on this court, and I think that has a big impact on that net. It is very tightly strung. The ball hits the top of that net here, and it just takes off. Well, it slides wide. Straightening those strings after every point now. Oh, it's a great approach shot by Mal. Just kind of swung away on the two-hander. If he's going to get a break, Tim, it'd be nice to break back right here.
Very dangerous play from Washington. He's had good success with that drop shot tonight, but Agassi was all over this one. Incredible how he hits that topspin backhand on the run. And he swipes away with that high forehand volley.
That was a big point, and Agassi played it so well. He has not been to net very often, Tim, but when he comes in, he has won the points. No. So from 15-30 down, now Agassi with a chance to go up 4-1. Oh, yes, there it is. Agassi with a two-hander. And so Andre Agassi leading 4-1 now in the third. We're at the Canadian Open. Stay with us on Prime. Welcome back to the Canadian Open. Malavia, Washington serving. Second serve now. Down 1-4, but down only one service break in the third set. Great scrambling by Agassi, but not enough.
And you can hear the crowd trying to get behind Mal Washington. They want this match tighter. I think that's good play, Barry, for Washington to get in. You can see him nimble around the net, making that high backhand volley.
He's on it. Oh, Agassi almost pulls it off. Unbelievable footwork from the Wimbledon champion there. He was on the full move.
He looked like the road runner on this one. Gets this ball. Washington guesses correctly, but Andre chases that ball from behind and almost hits a winner.
Tell you, when it left his racket, I thought he had it. Tremendous hustle from Agassi. Washington up 30-love. Talk about a deep forehand, Tim, from a tough position. Agassi drills one deep into the corner. Washington still with the lead, 30-15. No call. The ball jumps off the sideline, and so Washington now with game point, trying to stay very much in this set. He's only down a break. Oh, and I heard a racket break.
And we have geese flying overhead.
Unbelievable. Right in the middle of that point, a flock of geese came flying over the center court. And 2 seconds later, Mal breaks his string. You can hear this crowd. They are in a roar, really enjoying this match. Talk about disconcerting. You look up and you, instead of seeing lights, you see geese. Game point now. Trouble.
Agassi just awesome off the forehand. This is a good serve, and Washington crisply hits this volley, but Agassi guessed right. It was the anticipation that sets this shot up. You can see him adjusting there at the last second.
Must points now for Washington. Down a break, trying to get to 4-2. Though that ball floats wide, the slice backhand letting him down, and so crucial point now. Add out. This crowd yelling encouragement for Mal Washington. They want him back in this match. A couple of vehement fans directly below us here.
On an enormous point, he comes in behind the second serve. Big second serve, and he punches off one of the best backhand volleys of the night. Realistically, Barry kept himself alive in on that backhand.
Huge point. It's deuce. Seeing a lot of first serves now. Slice goes wide, and so once again, Agassi with a chance to go up 5-1. This match, an hour and 33 minutes old. On an absolutely perfect night here in Toronto. Friday night, the finals on Saturday. Tomorrow, as we mentioned, because of the Olympic startup over in Barcelona. Oh, and a double fault. Washington serves his fourth double fault, and what a time for it. Puts him down 5-1. Agassi will be serving now for the match. Unbelievable turn of events here. This match looked like it was all Mal Washington. Mal with the first set, cruising in the second early with a break. And as we look at the center court, which is now starting to get dark, Agassi serving for the match. Andre 3 points away, 15 love. Stays in. Very close on that far baseline, but the ball dropped in. 30 love. A lunging shot from Agassi. So triple match point now for the Wimbledon champion. He's done it. Agassi. And a relieved Nick Bollettieri in that front row. Andre Agassi, a strong comeback after a very shaky start. Comes back to win it in 3 sets, 2-6, 6-2, and 6-1. And so Andre Agassi into the final. He'll play Ivan Lendl tomorrow. We're going to have